This week we're going to explore using your DSLR camera for real estate photography to help sell that home. If you've gone through the effort to replace your point-and-shoot camera with a DSLR, you'll want to explore the multitude of features it has to offer in order to maximize your investment and catch that best listing photo possible. It's good to have at least a basic understanding of how your camera actually works. There's some very important fundamentals of image capturing that you should know, so let's take a look at how a DSLR camera functions. Light bouncing off of your image travels in through the lens hood and UV filter, through the focus ring, where the aperture controls how much light passes through. The aperture is displayed on your camera's indicator as f-stops, or f-numbers. The larger the f-number, the smaller the opening is for the light to come through. The smaller the f-number, the larger the opening is. The light hits the mirror and reflects up to the prism where it's bounced through the viewfinder to your eye. When you depress the shutter button, the mirror flips, the shutter opens, and it allows the light to hit the image sensor instead of being reflected to your eye. The image sensor then reads the light and converts it to an image in the camera's memory. Shutter settings control how long the shutter stays open and how long the image sensor is exposed to the light. Your ISO settings determine how sensitive the image sensor is to that light. Now, with that knowledge in mind, take a look at your settings and options on your camera. Auto mode means that your camera is in charge of everything, including the flash, ISO, white balance, shutter speed, and aperture. In program mode, the camera still rolls on autopilot, except now you have the option to change a lot of those settings that are normally controlled by the camera during auto mode. When shooting in shutter priority, the camera allows you to change the shutter speed while the camera automatically adjusts the aperture settings appropriately. You would use this mode under the circumstance where you want to capture motion. Aperture priority allows you to blur the background to draw attention to a particular subject in the foreground. The larger the aperture setting is, shown as a small f-number, the more that the background will be blurred. The smaller the aperture is, which is shown as a larger f-number, the sharper the imagery will be. Manual mode allows you to have full control over the aperture and the shutter speed. This gives you the most control over your camera. However, shooting in this mode takes a little bit of practice. Most DSLR cameras have scene modes as well. These are modes that have settings particularly geared for certain situations. Don't be afraid to play with those as well. Now, let's take a look at some of the situations where we would use some of these different settings. Such as, if you're shooting in a poor lighting situation, you might adjust your ISO settings to allow higher light sensitivity with your image sensor. You can bump up your ISO, but make sure that you're using a tripod. The higher your ISO is, the more noise you're apt to get in your image. Using a tripod will help steady the image and reduce that noise. Other lighting issues that can crop up is the type of lighting itself. Some overhead lights can cast tones over a scene. By adjusting your white balance settings, you can compensate for this. Perhaps you'd like the water fountain feature to look soft and smooth. Shoot in shutter priority mode and adjust the shutter speed. A slower shutter speed will give the falling water a silky effect. A faster shutter speed will allow you to catch more detail. Shoot this scene in aperture priority mode in order to pull focus to a particular feature. This lends an artistic creative edge to your photograph. Now, it's up to you to use this information and explore the different settings while shooting listing photos. One great resource for the beginner is this site, photographyforrealestate.net. They have a forum with a lot of useful information to help you along the way to shooting like a pro.